Welcome back to another T Talk, something a little bit different for you this time round for two reasons. One, I'm joined by none other than Darren, not Con. And secondly, it's a T Talk and I'm missing my tea. I've just realised, but hey, we're gonna go with it and we're gonna see where it takes us. But Darren, delighted to have you with us on this T Talk today. Your first time?
Yes, happy to be here. I've seen it from afar many times, and now
From afar, behind
here,
the camera.
yeah, from like
now you're
from behind the shrubbery.
there. You go,
watching
through the undergrowth.
Yeah.
But yes, no, delighted to have you. And the reason we've brought Darren onto this T Talk is because we are going to get into video. And I thought, what better way than having a video marketing expert with us to share his insights, his thoughts on video and why you lovely brands watching our T Talks, why you need to be embracing video if you're not already. So, right, got a few questions, Darren, want to get into it. So come on then, kick us off. In your opinion, what makes video such a powerful marketing tool? Why do you love video so much?
So, I mean, there are many forms of content out there that say, I mean, you've got text as a, sort of one of the most sort of basic levels. And then obviously one step up from that is image. And then one step up from that is video. And the reason why I say it in that way is because, I mean, from a visual point of view, when you're on social media particularly, but also if you're looking for things via Google or other search platforms.
Other search engines are available.
Well, yeah.
We'll just say that.
But Google's the best. But if you're looking at those things, then you are looking at them. We are quite a visual sort of species, let's say. And if you want to see something, then, I mean, an image has one image. Video, depending on what frame rate you're using, has 24 images per second.
There you go.
So it's essentially a question of more is more.
Yeah.
And in this case, is less more or is more? In this case, more is more.
Oh, we're 2 minutes in. I'm already confused. We've had frames per second and is more. Oh,
after the day I've had today, it would not surprise me if people were too afraid to do video. But I'm here to tell you it's what you need. We'll
brush over that. Come on, right? The video is seamless. It always works beautifully.
Yeah.
Look, I think most brands, a lot of our clients are embracing video. We're seeing the uptake in video is just, is if you could compare that to a few years ago, more people are willing to do it. I think we're seeing more people within the brands we're working with, they're more willing to get onto camera. And I think everyone's got a phone now, so we can all be on video pretty easily if we want to be. And you sort of alluded to it there, but how is it then different to the other platforms? And why is that not just different, but better? And can you back that up then? I'm saying can you? I know you can. But can you give us some case studies, some statistics? If you're a brand and you're thinking, we've never delved into video. We've thought about it, but we've never really gone. And there are a lot of brands that have amazing imagery, but just haven't taken that hop, skip and a jump into video. Why should they? After watching this T Talk, why are they going to finish and go, do you know what? Darren's made my mind up for me. I need to go and embrace video.
Well, I would say it comes down to one sort of statistic in general, and that it always has to do with engagement. And I think if you look at trends of social media over the past sort of 10 years, maybe more actually, you had things like Instagram introducing a much more image-based sort of world, in a sense. Everyone was posting on their Instagram. Everyone had all sorts of terrible filters on everything. Now, with things like TikTok, that's changed to video. And obviously with things like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, you can clearly see the trend going towards, rather than an image, a moving image. And again, as I said, it all comes back to engagement, because again, going back to what I said earlier about it just being more, if you are stumbling upon on your social media and you stumble upon an image, that gives you essentially one chance to engage. But if you've got a moving image or video, then you have ultimately more. And that just is going to create that sort of engagement. And going to that statistic I mentioned, retention rates.
Yep.
And video has been proven to have an 87% higher retention rate than other forms of media.
There's the stat. I told you it was coming. There is your stat. 87%. That is amazing. So, and I think from a paid media perspective, when I think about the brands, from a digital strategy perspective, I've mentioned it on other T.E.A Talks, but we're seeing it for our clients. I know a lot of brands are seeing and feeling the same thing. Is the cost of acquisition is just going up. It's becoming harder and harder to acquire a customer, regardless of what you're trying to sell. And we're advocating the importance of that retention, retaining that customer's attention, retaining their custom, and getting them to repeat purchase and so on. And so, with that in mind, any form of media, frankly, the way you can keep your product, your brand, your messaging in front of that customer for a prolonged period, or just that return, that repeat, that engagement rate, that's only a good thing. Yeah. And it's why we're advocating it, and we're saying, look, as you say, if a picture paints, says 1,000 words, or whatever the saying is, how many does a video say, right?
Millions.
It's exponential. So, and one thing I know we're doing, and you've been playing a key role in that of late, is using video around the whole brand awareness piece. So just want to give us your thoughts on why is it so good for that kind of the brand awareness, and how it feeds into that engagement piece.
Yeah, I think these days, particularly with the Gen Z market, we're looking more for credibility, more for genuineness, that genuine feeling, almost like the person you're watching, even if you don't. I mean, I watch tons of YouTubers, and I'm sure you're the same, where you kind of feel like you know them personally.
Yeah.
And it's because they've built this brand, whether it's a business brand or a personal brand, that allows you to feel like you're almost a bit of an insider.
Yeah.
And again, that comes back to retention, because the more that you feel like you're a part of something, the more you're going to want to return to it.
And that's really hard to do with a static image.
Yeah.
Right. I completely get it. And I think it does it's funny, because then, when I think about, I always relate this back to the clients that we work with and the brands we work with, because I think that's, as I said before, we get the benefit. The beautiful thing about agency is you get the benefit to work on lots of different client accounts. Yes. You get to see lots of different brands, lots of different products, lots of ways in which brands are engaging with and working with their audience, their target customer. So, and we get to see so many different types of brands and products and stuff like that, all for the most part within home garden lifestyle, but we get to see quite a wide mix, which is really good. And we're seeing, as you say, the video being used, but it's not always in that really polished and we're seeing, it's perfectly fine to do video on your phone, get started and to, I mean, that's how, we did dozens of YouTube videos ourselves, all filmed on my phone, long before we had this amazing setup. But it's, and you can do that. And I think it's that personal storytelling, isn't it? That the ability to make it real and uncut and unedited, and I think it resonates.
It does. I think again, there is this genuineness with a lower quality sort of content.
Yeah.
And I don't mean lower quality in terms of the sort of the actual what's being said and what's being displayed, but in terms of just like filming it on your phone does not necessarily mean that it's going to be worse in terms of what you're watching.
Yeah.
It just because it's a lower visual quality doesn't mean that the content, what you're actually seeing, what's being shown, is going to be a worse quality.
Yeah.
As long as you have the right storytelling.
There you go. Storytelling is the key. So, okay, so we say it's not going to be revolutionary for anyone, watching this T.E.A Talks, for us to be saying, look, it's great for engagement. It's a good medium to be using, so long as you've got a good storyteller, so long as you're comfortable on camera and you can get your personality across. Because I think that's a massive part of it. Is if you can, there's so much video content. I mean, there's probably some crazy stats about how much gets uploaded every day and stuff like that. But so to try and, you don't need everyone to like you, but if you can just carve out and demonstrate your personality on video, that's going to be a great thing. So go on then. So let's kick the conversation on just a little bit and talk about something that I know very little about, but I'm guessing you're going to know a lot more than I am, which is trends. Where do you think videos go? If you look at what you're seeing, and you're way more in this world than I am, What are you seeing? Are you predicting? I'm asking this for as much. We can turn the cameras off, to be honest. I just want to know, right? So let's pretend the T Talk's over. What are you thinking? Go on.
So I love a good TikTok.
I'm not convinced, I'll be honest. I like it. I'm a bit old.
So I was against it for a long time. And then once, and to be fair to me, to past me, I'd go on there and it would show me all the stuff that I wasn't interested in. And what I've come to learn about platforms like TikTok is they are absolutely huge. And what I mean by that is that you can have multiple trends running simultaneously, all going to different audiences. A lot of the time when I see something that I would say is viral on something like TikTok, I'll mention it to someone I know who also uses TikTok a lot, and they've never heard of it. But then they know something that they would say is viral, and I've never heard of it. So you find that viral videos these days, they are far more, but they are far more fleeting as well. And what I mean by that is they don't last very long, but there's one after the other.
It can be powerful, can't it?
It can be. And what that means is, you might think, oh, well, that means that they're not as powerful, they're not as important, they don't last as long. But actually, a better way to look at it is that it's far more likely that you can jump onto it and that you can have a viral video. Now, you don't have to have a viral video to make a successful video, but the way that the trends are coming away from my massive tangent here and going back to what you were saying, the way that trends are going, again, it's more down this genuine route. And it's more, it's a lot of what we've been doing here. A lot of what we've been doing, if you've been watching these videos,
who hasn't been? Everyone's watching these, you know.
Or if you've been watching Evergreen Uncut, which is another one of our things. It's about coming along for the journey. It's about
But what did you say earlier? It's about that kind of insight. Yeah, it's that. I think that's powerful for small business, big business. What I want to do is, for the brands that are going to be watching this and thinking, oh, video, maybe, let's arm them with some practical tips and advice. What are things that you could do right now if you're wanting to get started or to take your video to the next level?
I would say, just do it. In the words of Nike, and Shia LaBeouf, but. So again, as we were saying, you don't need a super amazing camera. So just use your phone to start with. Get a sense of what your brand's video style is. I think all too often do people start doing video for their brands and they just go off brand. They often what people do is they will do videos which are similar to the type of videos they like to watch. And all too often that isn't their brand. So one of the biggest pitfalls you need to avoid is going off brand. You need to make sure that the videos that you're making are still relevant, and still sort of back up the rest of what you're already doing. And then the other thing I would say is consistency. Just
That's the name of the game.
You're posting all the time.
Even if it makes the rod for your videographer's back when you turn around and say, we need to be doing 2 T.E A Talks every week.
Even if it's nearly 6 p.m. And you've got a video that needs to go out tomorrow. So you have to film.
These are the trials and tribulations we have signed up for. So on that then, just on that last point, so about the consistency and what you just said, is that flip the other way, the mistakes that brands make? Because a lot of brands, there's crazy stats around, you start something and then you never got beyond the first few episodes. I think
it's been mentioned on this video series about the podcast thing of most brands don't get past, what is it, 8 or
something
4?
Like that. It's
those that do, most don't get past 20.
Which is a crazy stat when you think about it.
It is crazy.
It is, yeah.
I mean, but then if you think about it, if you're doing 1 a week of anything, 20 is nearly half a year. So actually, you got to be consistent for a while to get to that point. But I think most people aren't consistent. Most people they don't figure out the style or the content beforehand, and therefore it keeps changing. And therefore, even if they're posting consistently, the content isn't consistent. And again, with any brand, you need to make sure that an sort of first glance, it's instantly recognizable as that brand. So I think if you can't do that, if you're constantly changing what's being shown and the way it's being shown, then you're kind of almost starting again every single time.
I'll give you my sort of 10 pence worth on that is in what we've done. Because when we were looking at what ideas do we have, what videos are we going to create, one of the things that we discussed at some length and then did a bit of trial and error and experimentation was actually to ensure that consistency. We knew we wanted to, or I knew I wanted to put a label on, so T.E.A Talks. I wanted to turn it so it wasn't just going to be we'll do a video on X or we'll do a video on Y, but actually for the way I approached it, the way I kind of thought about it, and we were discussing it, is if we create it as give it a label firstly, and then turn it into a series. That instantly kind of, and you set a bit of a precedent in terms of this is the level of consistency we want to go for straight away. Even if you're 4 or 5 episodes in, or 200 or 300 episodes in, this is the look, this is the feel, this is the precedent, this is the level of consistency.
Absolutely.
And that's made, even from the get-go, this so much easier. Even just doing our T.E.A Talks or our Uncut is because we know we've set ourselves right from the get-go, this is the expectation. And there's no one external judging us in terms of, yes, no, are you doing it, aren't you doing it, apart from ourselves setting our rod for our own back. But apart from that, I think so for me, that's one thing I've learned from you is actually, if we're going to do this, let's create a series. Gets that consistency.
People love a series.
You do. We're hoping so.
Well, people loved Game of Thrones before it became terrible. But people love a series. They will, if you can put a name to something, and it's enjoyable, and it's a similar sort of content every time, even if it changes a little bit each time, like our set.
They don't. I hope if they know.
The shrubbery behind you is going to continue to grow.
It's just getting bigger. It's just getting. I watched one of the first episodes back. I was like, "There's not enough greenery." I was like, "I'm jealous of the background greenery." I was like, "I need more greenery." So we've just gone overboard on the greenery. I hope everyone's loving that.
We could do a behind the scenes at some point about that.
We should. It is, and Eddie the elephant has made an appearance.
Yes.
So I think we're just about there. So I think a few things. Just a quick recap. Is video, very powerful marketing tool. If you're not using it, use it. And to your point, just get going with it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get going. Get comfortable on camera. It's amazing for stats, engagement, brand awareness. It ticks all the boxes. It just does. It just does. And that's why we're having fun with it. And so many of our brands, we've got more brands doing video now than those that haven't, which is brilliant. That's taken a while to get to that point. But do it with consistency. And the top tip then to take away is turn it into a series, whatever you're going to create. And then get past that 8 episode itch, or even that 20 episode itch. If you get past that, you're set.
And if you can't do it, I'll do it for you.
There you go. Let me just get the right tick. He's got the reference of our creative services in. Yes, there we go. Right,
the trailer.
We could, exactly. We can officially end the episode now. I've been waiting for that. I'm like thinking, you better mention it now. But look, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's the first one we've ever done when we're talking about anything sort of non-paid and a bit creative. It's Darren's first time. I was going to say on the sofa, but on the hot seat. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'll keep these videos coming, these T.E.A Talks. We've got a few more ideas. We might even do one on all things AI. Maybe we'll go for that one. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you soon.